I may have done some major damage to my wallet. Bookish besties, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a gigantic book haul. So let's get right into the video. I've been purchasing some books lately, kind of like crazy. We're getting close to my birthday, so I've been going to Barnes & Noble a little more. I'll most likely be doing a separate birthday book haul, so I'll keep you guys updated with that. But this is just some books I've been buying recently. This has probably been within the last 1 to 2 months. I've gone a little crazy. So let's start with our latest, most recent Barnes & Noble trip. Actually, this one I got from Target, and that is The Rose Bargain. I saw Emmy reading this, and she said she really loved it, so I wanted to pick it up, and I've been seeing it all around. The cover is also so pretty. Like, look at this pink. And then there's pretty roses on the end papers too. I wish there was end paper art, but alas, there's not. In this society, there are fae girls, and they need to like bargain with the queen to give them really good traits to find men, basically. And so I think they enter this competition to win the hand of like the queen's son, but she realizes that like things get dark and twisty from there, and it says when one makes a fairy bargain, one must be prepared to pay the price. So I'm very excited. It's going to be more of the fairies that like you have to obviously bargain with them and like make deals, and like everything's twisty and turny and not what they seem, so I'm very excited. Then another one that just came out is House of Blight. This is by Maxym M. Martineau, and I've been seeing some things about this. I think it's going to be like a Gothic fantasy series, so I just was completely enthralled by that. I love anything Gothic, especially recently. I don't know why, but it says Idira Brolwyn has a secret. Withholding her magic will save her life. Using her magic could save the world. This is like another like fae inspired one, I think, but it's Gothic, and I just love like the look of this like house slash castle on the front. She has magic that can save people's lives, but I'm pretty sure that every time she uses it, there's a cost she has to pay. She has to sacrifice a part of her own life. So like to save other people, she has to kind of like sacrifice herself. So I'm very excited to see where this one goes. I like that she has that kind of magic, and she's like in this like fern glove mansion, and I think she's dealing with like 2 different sides of her family, and she's trying to figure out like what to do with her powers basically. So I'm very, very excited for this one. And I'm going to be very, very excited if it's actually going to be like the start of a series. Then I picked up Enchantra by Kaylie Smith, and this is obviously the sequel to Phantasma, and this one is about Genevieve, which is the sister in the first one. I think it's like a close family friend, and she wants like answers to some of the questions she has about her mom, and she gets invited to Italy. It's like this house called Enchantra, and it's frozen in time, and they play like this deadly game of hide and seek, and only one person can win. So she's obviously gonna fall in love with this guy named Rowan. Nothing is truly eternal, and they say, welcome to Enchantra, there's only one rule: never ever trust your heart. So I'm very excited for this one. I really liked Phantasma, so I'm excited to see if I really like this one as well. And then the absolute highlight of the haul is this pickle bookmark that I got. Look how cute that is. I was so excited when I found that. It's like an acrylic one, so it's hard. Very excited about that. Then moving on to another trip to Barnes & Noble where I went absolutely wild. I had some gift cards, and I was having a really horrible day. So I was like, let's just buy as many books as I can possibly think of right now. So I got this bookmark. It's The Raven, and I've been like super obsessed with it again, because I've always been obsessed with Edgar Allan Poe, but I got super obsessed with it again as soon as I read Sunrise on the Reaping because of Lenore Dove, and like basically had the entire The Raven poem in there, and I was completely obsessed. First on our list, after the bookmark, we have Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I'm so excited for this one. I think I have Magic Ship by her, but I've really been wanting to read this series because everyone has said such good things about it. So this is the Farseer trilogy, and I'm just like obsessed with the way these covers look, because it just looks like an old scroll or book. We're following Fitz, and he is the bastard son of the noble prince Chivalry. And he was kind of like raised in hiding, and he was raised to be an assassin. So I think we're following him throughout his life, and also like on his first mission, and kind of his journey and what he's going to mean to the kingdom. So I'm very excited. All of these books are just so gorgeous. I'm excited to read basically everything that Robin Hobb has written, and I just love these paperbacks, even though the words are kind of a little small. Then I got this one I've never heard of, and it's called This Fatal Kiss. It was in the YA section, and it's by Alicia Jasinska. And I just like fell in love with the cover. And then I opened it up. And look at this. I just thought that was gorgeous. It says, spirit away with a whimsical romantic fantasy filled with dark magic and flirty polyamorous romance. So I think the main character is a water nymph, and she's cursed to like haunt the river that she's in. But if she wants to like regain her like mortal life and like be able to come out of the river, she just needs a kiss. But everyone thinks she's like this monster. Then we get like a spirit hunter that comes in. I think there's also another person that comes into like their relationship, because it's like polyamory. So it's a delightfully queer polyamorous romance teeming with splashes of ethereal magic. I'm just like obsessed with the vibes of this. Like the color scheme is so beautiful, like all the muted greens and browns. And then I just love that he looks like a studious person with his little glasses. So I'm so excited to read this. It is detailed with Slavic folklore, which I think is so cool because it's something I don't have a lot of like experience in. So I'm excited to read about this. Then I got a horror book, and that's Blood on Her Tongue by Johanna von Veen. And I just picked it up. First of all, this cover is just so beautiful, and the sprayed edges I couldn't get over. But then what got me is the back says, I'm in your blood and you are in mine. I think this girl, her twin sister, starts to go like crazy basically. They've diagnosed her with temporary insanity, and then it says this like the sister becomes angry and hungry. So I don't know if she's like gonna become like a vampire, or if she's going to become like a cannibalist. I have no idea. On the back this says, a new Gothic masterpiece. It's decadent, full of gore and rot, and viscerally relentlessly engaging. So I'm so excited. It just sounds so good. And I've heard that the other title by this author is very good as well. I just can't remember it right now, but I'm very, very excited to read this. Then I picked up this YA because I've been seeing it everywhere as well. Our Infinite Fates by Laura Steven. So I kept seeing like some art. I saw a special edition book, which was beautiful. And then I just keep seeing like this quote. It's like, they loved each other in 1,000 lifetimes. They've killed each other in every one. So I love the idea of like, you find your soulmate in every lifetime. And I think it's even more interesting that they could be like enemies to lovers and like murdering each other. So I'm very excited, and this is so beautiful. And I love this. Maybe that's all love is in the end, an endless tempting of fate. Oh, I am just simply obsessed with this. And it was only $20. Like, how can you beat that? Then I've also been seeing this one. This one's newer, I believe. It's Exquisite Ruin by AdriAnne May. And it says, in this deadly maze, the most dangerous thing may be the passion between them. So she like wakes up in this labyrinth, and she doesn't know who she is, like not even her name or anything. But I think she does know that she is a witch or like a sorceress. And she winds up with this, I think she winds up with an immortal demon. And they have to kind of like find their way through this like deadly maze and figure out who she is as well. So I'm very excited, and that cover again is just gorgeous, and I could not get over these sprayed edges. Then this is by Sarah Beth Durst, and it's The Queen of Blood. These are some of her like older books. I have the Spell Shop by her that I haven't gotten a chance to read yet, but this is like a little fantasy series she has, and I just like fell in love with this cover. I don't know, this cover is just giving me like the Spiderwick Chronicle vibes, and I think it's just so cute. I think there's this queen, and she's trying to like manage the relationship between the spirits and the humans, because the spirits just want all of the humans gone, and the young women are chosen to train as heirs. There's like a cute little friendship, I think, possibly relationship, I don't know, between these two people that are training as heirs, and they go on a journey basically to see like what is making these spirits so restless. And again, this is another series, and I just like am so excited. I'm just ready for the whimsy that I think this is going to bring into my life. Then I went a little crazy, and I got the entire Legendborn trilogy, and no, I really don't know what Legendborn is about, but I'm very, very excited. I've heard such good things, especially since Oathbound just came out, but I wanted them all in hardcover. Like, you can't really find the first two in hardcover much anymore if it's not in the set or like on Amazon, so I just got these. So it looks like there's a secret society at like a really prestigious high school she goes to, and they track down demons that attack, like have magical attacks and like attack people. And there's also more to her mom's death than she really knew, so she wants to investigate that. And it also says there's a magical war coming, so very excited for this. I think it's just the trilogy. It says, when the shadows rise, so will the light. When blood is shed, blood will call. By the king's table, for the order's might. By our eternal oaths, the line is law. So I think it's going to be, you know, just very magic based, but also like it brings in like old Arthurian legends. So I'm very, very excited for this. And like she's just so beautiful on the cover. I'm so excited. Those were my books from the past couple of days. So I'm gonna go back a little further to books I haven't shown you guys that I've gotten. I went to Target and I got Story of My Life by Lucy Score. I haven't read anything by Lucy Score yet, but this was just so pretty. Like, again, the sprayed edges, and I just love like the little bicycle on it. And it says, what's more inspiring to a rom-com author than a hot, grumpy contractor literally knocking down walls? So she's a romance author and she has writer's block, and she winds up like impulse buying a historic home, and the contractor comes in to basically like start renovating the house. And I just think it's going to be so good. And it's going to be small town. I'm literally so excited. I can't. I started listening to this one on audiobook and I was like, wow, this is gonna be way too good for me to audiobook this because I don't remember anything from audiobooks. So it's Under Lock and Key by Lana Ferguson. Again, never read anything by her, which is kind of crazy. But Kiana, her dad just died and he's from Scotland and her family still lives there. So she goes to Scotland and she doesn't really know her grandparents, but she starts to try to have a relationship with them. And when she gets there, she goes to like spread her dad's ashes, and she winds up meeting this guy who is around like the lock that she's at, and he winds up like, I think, being the person that like takes care of the grandparents' land or something. He's obviously going to be the Loch Ness Monster and they're gonna have a relationship for him, and I don't really know what else the plot is about, but I just wanted it because he is the Loch Ness Monster. Say less. Then I got Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher, and I just think this one is so beautiful. And on the back it says, Sarkis knew that the kiss was a mistake the moment he did it. He kept doing it anyway, at first because stopping a kiss so quickly offended his sense of craftsmanship, and then because it felt too good to stop. So there's this girl, she like, I think she winds up inheriting her family's like wealth or something, and everyone is like bugging her about it. And they lock her in this room and there's a sword on the wall, and she tries to like off herself by like impaling herself on this sword, but little does she know that the sword is actually sentient and it like pops out as a man, and now he's like bound to her because he has to protect his master, and she unsheathes the sword. So I think, and then they go on an adventure, I believe, from there. I'm not too sure, but obviously she falls in love with her sword and I love it. I love that for her. And again, I just love the color scheme of this. Like the blues and the reds, they're just so bright and I love it. Then I got Babylonia, and this is just the most beautiful book, like basically ever. This is by Constanza Casati, and it says Kings Fall, Queens Rise, and it's based off of like the Babylonian history, which is going to be so exciting because I was like looking into it and it's just so beautiful. So that is the inside, and then there's just like the sword embossed on the cover. But it says, a common woman, the governor she married, the king who loved them both. Welcome to the empire of gods and men, and the one queen destined to rule them all. I don't really know much more about it. I think it's just going to be a very political fantasy, and I'm so excited because I think it's going to be more of like a historical fantasy and maybe even more like bordering on fiction than fantasy, so I'm just so excited. It's just something different from what I normally read, which makes me thrilled. Then this one was $5 at the cafe, and it's If Cats Disappeared from the World. So there's this like postman, and he gets told he has cancer and he only has 7 days to live. But then he gets visited, I think, by the devil. The devil basically says, like, if you give up one thing every day, like, then you get another day to live. So this guy's like, sure. So I think he is going to kind of, like, realize what matters in life and what it's like to lose things. But I think it's going to get down to him and his cat, Cabbage. And he's never going to want to give up his cat. And then he's just going to die for his cat. So this is actually going to be my first, I think my first translated work. I read manga and stuff all the time, so obviously that's translated. But this is going to be my actual first like translated book / novel that I read, so I'm very, very excited. It's by Genki Kawamura, and I'm literally so excited. I love the little kitten on this cover. Then I got Don't Let the Forest In by CJ Drews, and I just fell in love with the back of this cover. And I think it's an MM romance, which I'm so excited for. It says Thomas had no idea that Andrew would do anything for him, protect him, lie for him, kill for him. So I know it's about these two boys, and it's definitely Gothic again. So it looks like it's Thomas and Andrew, and I think they're kind of like best friends, but Thomas starts to become like super weird, and like Andrew starts to try to like figure out what's going on with him. It says Andrew follows Thomas into the off-limits forest one night and catches him fighting a nightmarish monster. Thomas's drawings have come to life and are killing anyone close to him. To make sure no one else dies, the boys battle the monsters every night, but as their obsession with each other grows stronger, so do the monsters, and Andrew begins to fear that the only way to stop the creatures might be to destroy their creator. That just sounds so good. And it says beautiful, horrific, perfect for any reader who has looked into the sharp mouths of disturbing fairy tales and found themselves entirely at home. I just love like the Gothic garishness of all of these books. I'm obsessed. Now, on the completely other side of the spectrum, I have been looking for this book for so long, and I finally got it. Wings of Starlight by Alison Saft. And this, just look at that. I love it. I love Pixie Hollow and Tinkerbell and all of those things. It says before she was the queen of Pixie Hollow, she was a young fairy who had to choose between duty and her heart. So I think she, like, obviously the winter fairy comes into like the warm season, but they think he's a monster, and they kind of form an alliance, and I think they have to figure out like if they can be together or if they need to focus more on their duty rather than each other, and I'm so excited. Then you guys know I already read this, but I did buy Sunrise on the Reaping, I think like the day after it came out or the day it came out, I'm not sure. But obviously it's by Suzanne Collins, and this is Hamish's story of the 50th Hunger Games, and it is so sad. So please read at your own risk. Then I got The Ragpicker King by Cassandra Clare, and I'm sincerely enamored with this cover. I literally could cry. So there is a king on the hill and a king in the city. That's not just a saying, it is the truth. So this is the second one to Swordcatcher, and I haven't read Swordcatcher yet, but I needed this to match my first one, and I also needed it because the art is just so freaking gorgeous. It says an arranged marriage, a forbidden passion, a prophecy realized, a glittering world of debauchery and secrets, and a sinister plot to bring it all crashing down. Welcome back to Castellane. So excited for this. Then again, I went a little wild because I read Sunrise on the Reaping, and I bought the entire Hunger Games trilogy and Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, even though I already had this one, so I'm going to be doing a giveaway with the copy that I bought, but I wanted them all to match, and I have not read the original Hunger Games trilogy. I think I read the first one when I was younger, so I obviously read the Hunger Games, but I've seen all the movies, and I just want to relive my childhood by reading these. So I think I'm going to be doing a reading vlog where I read these for the first time, and I'm so excited. And then I'm going to read this one, and then I want to rewatch all of the movies, and I cannot wait till the Sunrise on the Reaping movie. I will be watching that the second it comes out. But yes, I'm very excited. I was so immersed in this world when I was younger through the movies, but I think I might have been either a little too young or just not interested enough in books around the time when these came out. So I'm very excited to read these in my adulthood because Sunrise on the Reaping was amazing. So I'm so excited. Those were all 25 books that I bought recently, and I am so excited to read every single one of them. You guys have no idea. Now I need to log some of these into my Fable and also into my little Excel tracker that I have of every single book that I own. My physical TBR just keeps going up and up and up, so we are going to be having so many TBR takedown videos in the future. I'm so excited. But thank you guys for watching. Your support means the world to me. If you made it this far, let's leave a sword emoji for all the fun fantasies and romanticities that we got in this book haul. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for future bookish content, and again, to be besties with me. As always, happy reading and love you. Bye.